johncartage.com to apply.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's the Ticket Punchers here on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. I'm your host, Roman Kelly. Not with my co-host here typically on the Ticket Punchers because we're not typically on here on Mondays. Normally we've got Mondays with Dalton Pence, but he's out. And we've got Louisville men's basketball tonight on top of Bellarmine women's basketball tonight here on the Big X. So going to get a quick Ticket Puncher show out for this fine Monday, and I've got producer Matt Childress joining me, who's been running around here on the Big X all day. Matt, how are you doing today? It has been your first time on here. I don't think you've joined us, as we are going to be having Curtis join up here any minute now. He was in here. I think he may be having some connective issues, but we're going to get him in. And it's nice to get a Monday show out because we've obviously got Monday Night Football where we can get some official punches potentially out there. We can talk on the weekend of sports, both in the college football realm and NFL realm, because there was a lot going on there as well. Before we do that, though, Matt, since we've got you on and we've got the Big X listeners here, let's just go ahead and recap what our Big X Big Bet records were from the 2 o'clock Run-In with Roman show, and then I'll go into my official punch record for the Ticket Punchers first month as we wait for Curtis. Yep, still Jacoby Brissett here for him tonight. You're going over. I like it. I'm on the Cowboys to win this game. I'm not going to call that an official punch or anything. I don't like betting on Monday Night Football. It is never, ever fun for me. Never results how I would typically like it to. There is a couple of player props, though, we're going to get into this game. We've also got some picks sent in to JR from JR as he isn't able to join. He's still sending in his punches for tonight, and we're going to get those out there for you guys. My record here in the first month, or for the first month of Ticket Punchers, I had an okay record. I went 22-16. The Big X Big Bet record from the Run-In with Roman show was at 14-10 in October. That's the bets that I've been giving out for a little over a year now, and we've been keeping track. We've got a pretty long record on those, but we do by the 14-10 in October. Not too mad at that, but 22-16 is where I'm sitting for my first month on the Ticket Puncher show. Joining us now, though, we've got Curtis Phillips, the co-host of the Ticket Puncher show, joining up now. Curtis, right now, we're letting the listeners know about what our records through the first month of the show have been before we get into the picks for tonight and the punches for tonight. I don't know if you've got your records sitting there ready right in front of you or not, but if you do, let the listeners know how your October and your first month here on the Ticket Punchers went.
Yeah, so not a bad month. We ended up bouncing back last week. Last week we went 7-2 on our plays. So we're back in the positive. We're sitting at 15-13. So looking to, increase that again this week. So not a bad month.
Definitely not. Definitely like to hear that. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear. Oh, you'll be able to hear producer Matt. We'll make sure that comes in over the control room monitor. But thank you so much for joining in here, Curtis. A little bit short notice as we're not typically out here on Mondays doing the Ticket Puncher show. But fellas, I want to discuss a little bit of the weekend of betting, the weekend of the games we had. There was a couple upsets. Obviously, I don't have the best Friday. I go, I believe, 1-3 on my Friday of official punches, as I had the Nickeil Alexander-Walker assist on Friday night. We had the Nuggets Friday night. And then we didn't give out a CFB play for Saturday, but we had Travis Kelce yards on Sunday, which hits. That's the one win we had. So we go 1-2, I believe, putting us up to the 22-16. Fellas, what was your biggest surprise over the weekend? Matt, if you have one, there was a game that you had a complete wrong read on, both in college football or NFL, or if there's like a game that maybe you just did not turn out the way you would in terms of how the score looked. You got one, Matt? Anything that surprised you over the weekend?
I actually say the Duke versus Clemson game, like in the amount of like a shootout that went out in that game. Like I know Duke got up really big early on. I kind of thought they were going to score away from it, but like Duke's defense is Duke defense all season. They let them down in the game and ended up coming down to the wire. It was a lot more fight than I thought a Dabo Swinney coach team that has no absolute life in their veins at all would have. So Duke ended up pulling it out anyway, but it was definitely a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the Duke game, I mean, that defense has just been letting up all kinds of crazy points, I feel like, all season long. I don't think there was anything that really, really shocked me. Obviously, I did have UNLV. We gave out the triple punch Friday, right, where we give each of the co-hosts give out a pick. My pick was UNLV. Curtis's pick was Texas, and JR's pick was the
Georgia
minus 6.5. So I don't think they got the hook there for sure. Well, actually, they only won by.
They won by 3. They would have covered. Stockton, he slid down at the 1 to prevent them from covering, so they would have.
That's right. Yeah, on the slide there while they had the ball. You always hate to see that when you're betting, of course. But fellas, I want to look into the night of this Monday Night Football game, just because obviously we did have a pick just given there from Matt Childress, but that was before we had Curtis join up. Curtis, were you looking into anything here tonight on this Monday Night Football matchup? We know that JR sent in a few things. I know you had maybe in a couple of official punches you were looking into, but what do you like here tonight in this matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys before we get into the night of NBA and college basketball?
Yeah, so I honestly haven't looked into too many props, but what I did like was a Cowboys prop. It's the team total over 28.5. So I took this on FanDuel at minus 115. When I first looked at it, it was plus money at around plus 105. So kind of hopped on it late. If you want to take Cowboys, if you want to alternate it down to 27.5 so you don't get hooked on the 4 touchdowns, I would do that. Or tease it up to 29.5 to get a little bit of plus money, because that's kind of a dead number in football. But anyways, Cowboys, one of the best offenses in the entire NFL, top 5, and a lot of metrics. And then they play really good at home. They scored 40 plus points in all 3 games at home. So yeah, I think Cowboys.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it'll be shootout tonight on both sides. So
so you Cowboys. Like potential. You like the over potentially as well in this game, sitting at 53.5.
Yeah, because I think Arizona will be able to, exploit the Cowboys defense as well. So
I do as well.
Yeah,
it'll be tough just because obviously Jacoby Brissett, he's had enough time out there to get comfortable though in that offense and find his guys and establish a connection. So there shouldn't be any issue with the pass game. Run game, I think they should still be able to run the football, but that'll be interesting to see how that looks, though. But ultimately, I think that the Dallas defense is just so bad that there's no way they don't get a handful of scores up on the board. Their team total sitting at 25.5, which is kind of a weird number as well. I think you maybe can dumb that down to like 23.5 and probably get good juice there on the 24 points. So I guess I'm going to stick with you guys here and rock with the over as well. Not an official punch for me or anything, but I like that. I don't have anything else I like in the game specifically, though. There is a couple of lines receiving, though, that I feel like are giving pretty good odds out. Obviously, we've been on Jake Ferguson this year pretty heavily. We've made a little bit of money from Jake Ferguson. His 41.5 yards sitting at minus 112. If you don't like the 80 or 63 from Pickens, which is kind of tough to gauge which of those two is going to spaz out, because they both had really, really big games. I do like the Jake Ferguson, like 35 yards. You can go get him at an alt there. The 40 plus at minus 128, though. I mean, you can't really feel like go wrong just because the Cardinals defense hasn't been too spectacular either. But ultimately, fellas, we've got to get to it because not a lot of time here, obviously, with 30 minutes, but there's college basketball back tonight. We've had a lot of games on already today. Winthrop playing today, St. Bonaventure playing today. Murray State getting a win to start their season off today as well. But we've got a couple big matchups tonight. Arizona and Florida playing tonight. We've got a couple of other top 25 teams, most top 25 teams playing tonight. I believe there was one other big game. I know there was one other big game outside of this one. Fellas, we'll start with you, Curtis, just because I know I saw you play something already. What do you guys got your eyes on here tonight in the realm of college football? We'll ask you next, Matt. But Curtis, any game you're keeping your eye on here that you maybe think the books don't have it right for the first night of college football basketball?
Yeah, I'm eyeing the Bethune-Cookman and Auburn matchup, and I get it. Auburn, they have a revamped offense. You kind of don't know what to expect, but I like what I saw in both of the exhibition games they played versus Memphis and Oklahoma State. So I'm going to take their team total over 89.5. So yeah, they scored 95 plus in both of the exhibition games. I know they have a lot of, pieces not returning from last year's team, and as well as, Bruce Pearl deciding to retire before season. But they still grabbed a lot of guys in the portal and have some good freshmen. Bethune-Cookman was, middle of the pack in college basketball last year in points per game on defense, but I think that's just due to the schedule that they had. So, yeah, Auburn was 11th in scoring per game last year, right around 86 points per game. So, I think they'll get to 90 easy tonight.
Not mad at that. Matt, you got anything in college basketball that you got your eyes on?
The big game of the night. I'm going to go look at the Florida-Arizona game. The line is at 163.5. I mean, this is going to be two teams that have a really good shot at making runs in March at the end of the year, playing in the first game of the season in a neutral site in Las Vegas. I think this game's going to go under. Maybe not way under, but I feel like 163.5 is a lot of points for two possible late-year juggernauts going at it earlier. There's going to be some off-shooting, I feel like. Going to be some kind of mismatches out there, things that dudes weren't really ready to pick up in the first game, and I think it's going to be an ugly basketball game.
I do think you always have the chance when you've got two big team matchups to start the season off for it to get a little bit messy out there. Maybe a turnovers, team just feeling like you've got those nerves to start your season off, and when you combine those nerves going up against an opponent that is actually a serious one who can defend and create on the offensive side as well, it can be tough for both teams. They're really not trying to let the game slip away. You're more prone to being nervous about mistakes, little things like that, because you don't want to have any negative feelings to start your season off. I do think there's a chance, though, that game could be a really, really slow start to both teams as they're trying to feel each other out. Fellas, I have one game that I'm looking at into tonight here in the college basketball slate, and I don't typically like the big spreads. I typically try to stay away from them. There is one game here tonight, though, that I do think is going to have the chance to get well over what the spread is looking like, and that's Syracuse going up against Binghamton at home. I think that the Syracuse team is going to be very, very, very good this season. I think this is going to be an offense that scores a lot of points, gets up and down the floor, hits a lot of shots, makes a lot of threes. Obviously, the Carmelo's son's going to be there doing his thing as well. I think that they're going to cover that 21.5 tonight. I'll go ahead and make that an official punch here for me in this game. I don't think that there's too much that I'm looking at tonight on the slate that has other big spreads for the winning team. I like to find what teams are going to cover, what teams are going to shock the college basketball universe on the first night of the season, right? I think that there's a couple potential matchups out there that we may be able to find something, but it's just kind of a bit risky for the very, very first game of the season. Anything else you guys like, Curtis, Matt?
No, that's all I pretty much looked at. I'm taking it light, first couple of days, seeing how teams come out and play.
We need to build us a little parlay here for the day, though. If we find any 3 games that we all feel like we can confidently get in on, we'll make that happen, or maybe just 3 picks on the night of sports that we can all maybe agree on. I do want to get into a little bit of NBA because I've gotten a couple official punches tonight in the NBA. I think there's a couple of lines, a couple of matchups that just a little bit too short, in my opinion. Matt, you're not going to like this one. For my next official punch on the night, I am taking the Bucks going up against your Pacers. Bucks 6.5-point favorites. I caught this at 5.5. I like the Bucks here to win on the road in Indiana. I get this because it has been an intense matchup the last couple of seasons, but with the injuries that the Pacers have got on top of missing your key guy in Nembhard, I mean, you're missing Mathurin, you're missing Toppin, you're missing Nembhard. I feel like it's kind of just slowed that offense down, not necessarily allowed the players that you do have to be playing the best form of basketball they've got. They're also not defending as well as you really would like them to. I think that Giannis playing tonight doesn't seem like he's going to be the game time decision that he was earlier in the day, is going to ultimately pick the Bucks here tonight. I think they're going to cover that 5.5. You like anything in the NBA tonight, Curtis? Or go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
I actually am like kind of piggybacking off you there. Like the Bucks are a really good pick for tonight. The Pacers don't look great at all. See what they're, like you said, with their injuries. Except I'm going to go in a different way. I took Miles Turner 3+ threes in this game. I mean, it's his first game back in Indiana.
Get back game.
They're going to feed him this ball all night. Whether it's like, if they lose this game, it'll be a major disappointment to the Bucks themselves. They're going to feed this guy the ball. He's going to get the job. I think.
I love it. I love that. I'm not going to take it just because I stay away from the big man threes. I've learned my lesson the hard way the last couple of years, but I do think that Miles Turner has the opportunity for a big game. I think that offense has already created a lot of open looks for him. Teams just Miles Turner, the rate of him fading on the pick instead of rolling to the basket is so high, and yet teams still give him that breathing room to get his jumper off to where he's been able to be pretty consistent this season. The Pacers should know that, right? You should be able to scout that pretty well if you've been the ones out there having him do that for you the last handful of years. So the three specifically could get a little scary just because they're, no one more than the Pacers should know to run Miles Turner off the line if they can. However, I don't know if they've got the defenders out there for it tonight. Curtis, anything in the NBA that you're looking at? We're going to build a little parlay here. I'm going to make the Bucks -5.5 my pick. We're going to make Matt Chodis's pick the over in the Arizona-Florida game because he picked that earlier in the show today. What do you like here tonight, Curtis, in the NBA, if you've got anything or something to add to this three-leg that we're going to build here live?
Yeah, so my pick will also be in that Bucks-Pacers game. Overall, I don't love the NBA slate. It's a lot of, just high spread, so lots of potentials for blowouts tonight. But this is just going to be a jab for me since I typically do not take defensive props. But I'm going to take Ryan Rollins, the point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, for 2+ steals. Saw this at +125 on Fanatics. He's had at least 2 steals in 5 of the 6 games. As both of y'all mentioned, the Pacers have lots of injuries tonight, so there's really not a lot of ball handlers on this team. You're missing, Mathurin, TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard. So I think Rollins will, probably pick somebody's pocket and then find a way to get in the passing lane to get at least 2 steals tonight.
I love that pick. He's been very, very active defensively all season long. And he could get that in the first quarter, if I'm being honest, especially if the Pacers try to play super fast like they like to. I think that there's a chance that he can go and find those 2 steals pretty quickly. I like that pick. 3 of us having picks there in the same game. I'm not really mad at that. That one's probably one of the better games that I just feel like the line actually isn't as close, is a little too close to what it should be, if I'm being honest. Another line I was looking at tonight here, fellas, I mean, it actually just shifted as I'm looking at it. I just watched the Rockets go from 12.5-point favorites over the Mavericks to 13-point favorites over the Mavericks. Probably going to go to 13 or 14 before game time here. The Mavericks have a lot of injuries tonight, including Anthony Davis. When a big like that is out, fellas, that does typically have me interested in the opposing team's bigs or their wing players getting rebounds. There's some really good rebounders on Houston right now, though. But if you take away Anthony Davis's rebounds and what he's averaging, somebody has to go and accumulate those boards for tonight. I do think that is a PJ Washington spot, if I'm being honest, fellas. I do like PJ Washington to cover his 6.5 rebounds tonight, normally a 5.5 kind of line for this guy. But with no AD, I like PJ Washington on the 6.5 here tonight. So we'll go ahead and make that a punch for here as well. Fellas, though, we've got a text in on the Game Day Men's Health text line. It's our boy, Lazar Guy. I believe he sent out a pic as well on X, adding us on the Ticket Punchers at @ticket_punchers. If you're interested in getting the pics after the live show, we do get them tweeted out every day. He says, on the Zay Jones ladder up to 80-plus yards, Cowboys secondary is brutal, and Brissett has been solid. Also on Hadley, 2+3s at plus money. Small ladder play up to 4+. What do you guys think of that? Zay Jones, 80-plus yards tonight on the ladder. So he's going to take, 60, 50, 60, 70, 80 for Zay Jones? I mean, Brissett and him have already shown that they can do it. Cowboys secondary is bad. I'm not mad at this, Curtis.
Yeah, I don't know about 80+. I'd probably 60+ would probably be my max, but I think Zay Jones will be involved in this offense, and Brissett has been getting him the ball. So I'm not mad to a ladder to about 60+.
And Javon Hadley, I love the 2+3s at plus money. I may go jump on that myself just because he'll have the minutes and he'll have the shot attempts. Louisville's offense should have the shot attempts. You've already seen him get a handful of open looks already here in the 2 exhibition games we've had. So, granted, he did miss a handful of those in the second one, but I'm going to think that he's been in the gym. He's been getting shots up. He's going to be working on that jumper a little bit and getting it right for the start of his season tonight. So, I definitely love the 2+ there, Lazar Guy. 4+, I mean, that means he's taking 2, 3, and 4. It's worth the risk. I probably don't think he's going to hit 4, though, here tonight. Matt, anything else you like here tonight before we talk a little bit of this Louisville game?
Mine is actually in the Louisville game. I like Mikael Brown Jr. 18+ points. That's it. I think it's plus money. It's plus 110. He's going to have the ball in his hands all night unless they take him out early. He's definitely going to get the shot attempts up for it. And after the output we saw last game, I don't think it's going to slow down. I think this dude's going to shoot it when he's open. He's going to get open. He's going to put the ball in his hands. He's going to make some good plays, and I think he's going to have a good chance of hitting that pretty.
I love it. All right, fellas, there's not a whole lot left, though, so we've got to ask Curtis because he is a diehard Louisville fan. Curtis, Louisville, big favorites here tonight. Do you think that they can cover that spread? Do you think they get the job done here tonight?
Possibly, but I honestly, through 2 exhibition games, I don't like really how our defense, has aligned. So I don't feel comfortable laying. Maybe a look at our team total over. I know I'm a team total
97 and a half.
Yeah, I think it was 96.5 when I first looked, so it has ticked up. But I think we can score points. Me personally, I wouldn't touch it the way like I said, our defense has looked through 2 exhibition games, but she'll get some points up there offensively.
Yeah, 35.5 point favorites. I'm staying away from that. I mean, I can't bet it. I can't bet against Louisville, and I can't bet against a favorite I can't bet a spread that big. Just something in my head won't let me do it. Anything can happen. Free throws, boom, and you lose by 35 exactly, or you lose by 34 instead of 35, and now you've lost, even though your team handled business correctly like you thought they would. I'm not mad at that, though. I do think that the Louisville team will have a lot of points tonight. I just don't think that they're going to get to that 97.5 mark. I think that you're going to be excited. You're going to be ready to get these shots up. It's the first real game in front of your home crowd this season. I think this has the opportunity with a fast-paced team like South Carolina, both teams running and gunning, and a lot of missed shots early in the game before the defenses actually get going a bit. Texter says here, YouTube TV folks can pay $5 for a Sling TV day pass and see the game if that hasn't been mentioned yet. So you can do that if you haven't had the ability to get to the game due to the YouTube TV stuff. You can get a Sling day pass, it seems here. I don't have any other routes to get in the game. I may be struggling myself, actually. YouTube. Oh, well, I'll be at the game. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll be watching in person. I won't have to worry about that. But going forward, YouTube TV is how I watch games. I'm going to have to get that figured out. Fellas, I do want to mention JR's picks because he did get some out to us. I don't believe we got any messages in here on the chat. Or he says, what's a good college? Texter in the chat. Christopher Hedgedorn says, what's a good college basketball 10-leg parlay? I believe Christopher asked in the Game Day Men's Health text line during the Mike Rutherford show as well. He's eager for a 10-leg parlay that is going to hit. Fellas, do we have one for him? I believe we I don't know if I can give you 10 legs in college basketball tonight that I'm genuinely confident in. What was you had the Auburn pick, right, Curtis?
Yes.
So you can go Auburn minus 24.5. I'll give you Syracuse minus 21.5. Michael Brown over 16.5 points if you like that prop there tonight. I'm not going to give you a Louisville team prop. Xavier 12.5 point favorites tonight. I think they can cover that and win that easily over Marist. That's one game that I kind of circled earlier as a chance for it to be a win. In the ACC, it's really just tough. There isn't a whole lot that I'm liking tonight because there's so many big spreads, and I like to stay away from the big spreads. If it's over 21 points, I typically don't like it all that much. I think Florida wins outright tonight. Money line prop if you want to add that. Anything you guys want to add to it, fellas?
I like the few of those picks. I do ultimately think Florida, gets it done tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I just gave out, that was 5 picks there. If you take Florida, if you get Xavier, Michael Brown, Syracuse, I think there's a handful of games out there that you can build a good little parlay with. I just typically stay away from the big spread, so that's why I don't have that many I'm confident in here tonight. Fellas, I do want to mention, though, JR's picks because he did send them to us, and he got them out there. He said so for tonight that he likes – it's a 4-leg, but it gets it up to plus 110. So if you just want to, a little builder to get your bankroll where you want it. Marvin Harrison, 30-plus yards. CeeDee Lamb, 50-plus yards. Trey McBride, 40-plus yards. And George Pickens, 30-plus yards. That is receiving props on all of those players. And the 4 of those, well under what their line is for tonight, would put you at a plus 110. I'm sure you can maybe get a boost on that. Maybe some of those props are a little bit too low. Also likes Dak Prescott 200+, likes Jacoby Brissett 200+, and each of those names I just mentioned to get 10 more yards than what that last on what the plus 110 is there. So he's on the receivers for tonight, the main 4 guys. I'm not mad at that at all. Fellas, Curtis, anything you want to add before we get out of here on this rare Monday edition of the Ticket Punchers?
No, I think that's it for me.
Let's go punch some tickets. Matt, thank you so much for joining in today. Anything else you want to add? Sounds good. This has been the Ticket Punchers right here on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. We'll be back tomorrow, 5:30 to 6.
Punch those tickets.
Let's go punch those tickets. Go Cards.